you're doing well today. We're going to do book 2, Step by Step by Edna Mae Burnam. So you should have gone through part 1, and if you've already played piano before then, or if you're just beginning, this should be just fine too. This is still pretty easy. And I'm just going to go through the exercises pretty briefly, just take you through the book. And I'm not sure how much of a help this is going to be, but I think if you're really beginning at this, there's some cool little tidbits in here that will help you out. Okay, but you really want to maybe watch the video and then sit down by yourself and go through this book, and then if you have any questions, then we can go over it. And especially if you're having lessons with me on a weekly basis, then that's really why I'm doing this, is because it will act as a good reference for you during your weekly lessons. But if not, it can be done as a self-study as well. Okay, so let's just jump in. So the March of the Palace Guards is just a review of what we've done before. Okay, and again, so you're in the key of C on this. You want to notice whether you have any sharps or flats, which we don't, so that's how we know. And so I'm just going to go ahead and just go through this for you real quickly. Okay, so that's pretty straightforward. That's your review. And let's go on to the next one. It's the clock, and they're introducing the new C for us. And now we've kind of worked our way up and down the keyboard. So the new C, this book, they're starting all the way down here, and they're just going to kind of fill in the gaps. Okay, and so that's your C below middle C, and you can see on the staff where this is. I'm probably not going to do too much of this as far as pointing this book up at the camera, but you can see where that middle C is. In the bass clef, I like to use Ace Garage. So on the first space, hopefully you have your book in front of you. That first space is going to be A, then you have C, and then you have E, and then G. Ace Garage, that's what it's going to spell in the spaces. I'll probably put a diagram on the video to help explain that, because that's pretty important. Okay, so let me back up too, and let's look at this very beginning part of the book too. They're showing the new notes you're going to use. So we've already, basically we're covering two octaves on the C major scale, and so this might be a good thing for you to do too, is start down here on the C below middle C. We've already done this a little bit, so it shouldn't be too confusing for you. Okay, so these are going to be the new notes going all the way up to the F. So and then you can start on the middle C. Okay, and they're showing the new notes are going to be this A, B, and the C. So you want to practice those notes. Okay. Okay, so let's go on and do the clock. Okay, so again, look at the measures on that. You can see that each measure has to add up to 4. So on the clock you have rest 2, rest 4, rest 2, 3, 4. So we like the treble clef, that's adding up to 4. Bass clef is the same thing. Don't let all those rests confuse you. It all works out when you actually play it. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so again, that's introducing the C below middle C, and a bass clef, the spaces. spell ACE garage, A-C-E, and then G for garage, okay? Let's go on to the next one, submarines. Nothing much to say about this one here. This you're just practicing your note reading. Here's that C below middle C. Here it is again. Okay, so that's pretty much it. Now they're going to show us the C above middle C, which is up here. Okay, you can see how far we've covered. We're going to be covering all these notes. You've got middle C, and you've got the two C's above that. So we can kind of think of those as guideposts too. That's a good way to think of it. And we probably talked about in the treble clef, the spaces spell the word face. So you have F-A-C-E. Okay. So we have on bass clef, the spaces are ACE garage, A-C-E-G, and then on treble clef, the spaces are the word face, F-A-C-E. Okay, and then let's see here, they say we're going to play the C with your fifth finger of your right hand. So basically, when you do the scale the way we did it before, your pinky ends up on that C. Okay, so now on Sleepyhead, note we have 3-4. So you want to kind of get that rhythm. Whenever you get a song that's in 3-4, you want to get 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay, and on this particular piece too, notice that we have the B and the D note. We talked about that before. The number 2 fingers. So you have 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Now we're going to hit the C up middle C, then 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And remember that dotted half note, when you have a dotted half note, that receives 3 beats, so that measure adds up. So basically a half note is 2 beats, okay? So then half of the 2 beats is 1, you add that back on top, which gives you 3 beats. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay, let's do telephone poles. Nothing new in this one. Just you just have to work your way through it. I'll play it for you. 1, 2, 3. Oops. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. Okay, so that's telephone poles. Okay, 2 blackbirds. Again, nothing new on this one. Okay, you'll just have to practice that. Okay, then we come to page 10. You want to do these exercises. I'm not going to do these in this lesson. I'm just kind of highlighting some of the important things that will help you go through these lessons. So, but you definitely want to go through and do each of these exercises. If you don't want to write in your book, just maybe make a copy or something and do them. Then we're going to go ahead and move to page 13. Again, they're giving us a finger marking here with your third finger on C. You want to use those, and notice on the bass clef they have the 1, so you really want to be aware of the finger markings. Here's the high C. Okay, so we're doing well with that. So now they're giving us our next note, which is the F, okay? And you can notice where the F is. It's just to the left of those three black notes. Let me stop here and point this out to you. On bass clef, it's also known as the clef, and you can see where on bass clef you have the bass clef symbol, and you have those two dots, and then the line runs through them. So that's there for a purpose, because that's telling you that it's bass clef, okay? And also treble clef is known as the G clef, and I think we talked about how the second line is G, and it runs right through the bottom part of that of the staff, the treble clef, and it's almost makes like a bullseye. So that's again another good way to remember those notes. So F and the G are really easy to remember because of that. Okay, so when I take a trip, let's see what happens here. We've got so that F is going to be played with your fourth finger or your pinky. The other thing I will point out too on this one is, notice when you go C, B, A, G, you notice since they're just stepping down, they're all white notes. When you get to that F, notice how you're going line to line. You've got an F, and then you're going to that next line, so you know you're going to have a white note in between. Then you have a G, you have two Gs, you have this G here at the top. Again, notice how that runs right through the center of that staff. So let's do that again. Okay, and again, there's that C, there's that octave. With these octaves, you'll get used to making that stretch, and it's actually a lot easier than you might think to be able to find that sometimes without even looking. It's not that hard actually once you get the hang of it. Okay, so let's do waltz again. We're in 3/4, so you have the 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. You want to get that? And note too that they have your third finger now on the A. Okay, so this was F, here's A. Okay, so that's the waltz. One thing with this one here, you know, this can get a little bit confusing. What's going on here is they're playing an inversion, and I'm going to do another completely different lesson on inversions. But one thing you might want to look at is that they're kind of moving us into the key of F, I think, on this one here, though they don't have a flat telling us that it's in the key of F. But what they're doing here is they've got this A and a C, so they're basically playing an F chord right here. That's why sometimes these beginner lessons can be sometimes quite confusing, because if you don't know why you're playing what you're playing, it gets confusing really fast. But if you were to take this note here, put it on the bottom, this F, you can see that that's an F chord. Okay, they just simply played it like this. Okay, then so that's basically where that's coming from. Now what is this right here? Okay, this right here, if you take this G and put it on top, you have a C chord, okay? So that's kind of what's going on. They're playing an F and a C. But they're inverted, so that can sometimes make it a little bit confusing. Okay, at least it did for me when I was first learning piano. I was always wondering, where are all these notes coming from? Mainly just because I come from a guitar background. On guitar it's a lot easier to see the chords, but as you get into more inversions, that will help you build a stronger foundation. And I find with playing piano, if you can visualize what chords they're playing, it's a lot easier to do the work, okay? And that's why on some piano books, like a lot of these beginner books, there's actually no chords in there. So you're really just playing kind of random notes if you don't work on your own and try to visualize what chord you're playing out of. And that's kind of why I like to go over this with you, because that will help you. Okay, so now let's move on to the flat sign. So we talked about that a little bit in previous lessons. So when a flat is placed before a note, play the nearest key to the left of the note. Okay, so again, they're showing you this is B. If this was flatted, then you're going to play this right here. Okay, so remember we talked about that. The black notes are all your sharps and flats. Okay. So this particular song here, they're playing a C, and they're playing this B note, but they have that little flat next to it, so that means you're playing a B flat. See that? So you got C, B flat, C, B flat, A, C. Okay, then they come over here on the treble clef. So that's how Halloween goes. And again, so you know, they're officially in the key of F now. So one thing I would advise you to do at this point in time, you know, when you first start your lesson, play your C major scales. Now we're in the key of F, so remember the key of F. If you were to play F just like you do a C major scale, you can see, you can hear that something's wrong because we're missing that B flat. So this is your F major scale. And so, you know, you want to go through and practice that at this point. Or you can just do practice it that way at first. That's called the micro scale. Just playing the first 5 notes of it. Okay, so and you don't want to go. You don't need to go overboard practicing your major scales. You know, like some classical piano lessons. I mean, unless that's what you're trying to do. But some lessons will have you practicing scales all day long, and it's just really, really boring, and it's really not going to do you much good, to be honest with you. So let's look at the next page, page 16. They're showing you the natural sign. The natural sign just returns the note back to normal. So on Fuzzy Little Caterpillar, we have C, B, B flat. Now they played that flat. We need to go back to B, so they have to put that natural sign in front of it. Okay, so that's how that goes. So now they're talking about the key signature of F. Okay, so we've learned the key of C, the key of F. You have to remember that it has that B flat in it, okay? Because now they're not going to put the flats in front of all the notes for you. So you can see down here on Jolly Little Penguins, they put that the flat there, okay, the B flat. So that means it's up to you to remember that all those B flats are going to be flatted, or all the B's are going to be flatted. Now, one thing to note too, on treble clef, we said that the treble clef, or the treble clef is known as the G clef, and it crosses right through that bottom circle, almost making a bullseye. Okay, that's a very good way to remember G. B, the B line, is very easy to remember too, because it's the one that's right in the very middle of the treble clef, okay? And it almost sits right on top of that little circle that the the signature makes. So the note B has always been very easy for me to remember because you just know it's right in the middle. Okay, so G is pretty easy to remember, B is pretty easy to remember, and also remember that the lines, we use every good boy does fine on the lines. Okay, that's the memory trick for that. Every good boy does fine. Okay, so but the G and the B are very easy to remember just because of that relationship. Okay, so here on Jolly Little Penguins we have now here comes that B, so you have to remember it's flatted. And if you have a piece that's that has like a lot of sharps and flats, you can always take a highlighter and go through and highlight those, and then that way it will help you to remember, because sometimes this will happen to you before it's over. You'll be playing a song and you'll be wondering, why does this sound so horrible? And you'll be racking your brain working at it, and then you will go, oh, I forgot, there's a B flat. So that happens. So okay, well anyways folks, this video is getting up to be over 20 minutes now, so we're going to stop on page 16 for today. So that will give you a lot to work on. Practice your F major scale, and you want to practice these songs. If this is giving you a hard time, go back to book 1, and you want to be able to play all those songs. Just you want to be able to flip each page and go through page to page pretty effortlessly, and then that way book 2 will be a lot easier for you. Okay, so anyways, thank you very much. I really appreciate you watching the videos. Please subscribe to my channel and check out my website, and I'm still trying to get members on that site. I'm going to be adding like a lot of piano videos on that, and hopefully it would help you learn how to play. So anyways, thank you very much. I sure appreciate it, and we will see you for the continuing part of book 2. Okay, thanks a bunch. Have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.